In a world that's changing faster than ever, some people aren't just keeping up, they're helping shape what's next. Our guest today is one of them. With over 25 years of experience in tech and telecom, he's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, helping shape strategy and drive innovation. Today, he leads the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution at World Economic Forum India. We are honored to have Purushottam Kaushik ji on today's Unfiltered Conversations with us as we dive into his journey and the ideas he's passionate about. Starting something like C4IR in India, why do you think there was a need to do something like this?
So it can be an amazing opportunity for us to really help people. How do we help people? By bringing these ecosystems together in the context. We work with Mavim in Maharashtra, where we have 1.8 million women farmers on the ground who are looking at how do we empower them with technology. And the results are much more exponential compared to similarly to a larger population versus women. AI for AI saw this journey, and then currently this work is getting implemented in multiple states, at least in one of the states, which is Telangana in Khammam district, where currently 55,000 farmers are leveraging this particular program.
Considering the kind of climate change that's been happening, the first sector that is highly affected is the agricultural sector.
Yeah, it's like see, today the farmer is the biggest risk taker on the ground.
True.
He doesn't have any information on pricing, he doesn't know about the climate, he doesn't know about the soil, but then he still puts up what he believes.
How do you look at building the future workforce for India?
We have been working on academic institutions, on gender inclusion, on youth, specifically because they are going to be the biggest drivers for any change that we want to bring in.
The grassroots are also play a pivotal role in kind of changing the landscape of jobs and the ecosystem. So I'd love to know about how the corporates, the World Economic Forum, and how all of this works for innovation to happen from ground bottom up.
Next 5 years is, I think, going to be a significant opportunity for change.
It's going to be the next big thing that you must invest in energy, and that's going to be one of the top industries in terms of the changes that are going to happen. So what do you think about that? There are job threats, but there are opportunities also. So according to you, what is the biggest opportunity one can leverage when it comes to technology?
Gen Z is the real future. Future is going to be very different.
So please welcome Purushottam Kaushik ji on Unfiltered Conversations today. Would you like to say something to our audience, and how do you think about this whole experience we are going to dive into?
I was told that your audience is mostly Gen Z,
Yes.
and like people who are really wanting to shape the future. Many of them in business, many of them maybe working somewhere. But for sure, I think this world where I have been in has seen the world in the last 2-3 decades have changed so much.
Yes.
It's good to share some of these journeys and relate it to how it's coming up, and possibly learn something in the middle as well. I think quite a few of this generation is so much energy, so much passion, so much to learn. Happy to go through this conversation.
In fact, I'd like to say that I'm absolutely honored to be interviewing you today, because it's kind of an experience and a dream come true for me to be sitting in this office talking to you. You have got 25 years of experience in something which has built innovation, has seen the changes that have been happening. So I feel extremely blessed. My team feel extremely blessed to be here, and it's been amazing that we are having this conversation. So I'd like to start with my question for today. Sure. That from strategy to policy, your journey has been diverse. How did it all come together for you to head the liaison office of World Economic Forum, which is C4IR for India?
Yeah, it's actually exciting. I mostly come from technology companies' roles in Lucent, Nortel, Cisco. Cisco was the longest, about 9 years, and these companies have been really shaping the technology world for the last few decades. And but being inside the organization and then doing all the business roles and leadership role sometimes doesn't give you the larger picture of what's happening in the societal impact side. So when I got this opportunity, and also what happened was that I was really not sure about, like, I had never worked in the not-for-profit world.
Yeah.
Mostly organizations make profit, you are doing some roles, you are making money for yourself, and that keeps happening. But then this opportunity, as it came in, I got to speak to some of the best people who have been managing the show in Geneva, and they gave me an idea about like what is the intent here, and it really excited me. Basically, looking at what can be done in the context of India, looking at globally at this platform was one agenda.
So when we talk about the World Economic Forum's liaison office, which is this, and starting something like C4IR in India, why do you think there was a need to do something like this?
Yeah, so globally, when the need for World Economic Forum first, so we are more of an organization who bring various stakeholders together. So government, industry, startup ecosystem, academia, research. But what we have also realized is there is a big gap. There is an issue of trust in appreciating every ecosystem concepts. And the second thing is that so much happening from the technology perspective, this gap even becomes more formed. So the intent here was that when we are coming here and bringing the whole ecosystem of World Economic Forum, this is going to be even more challenging in India. We are like a 1.4 billion population. We are sitting in the middle of, like, we are third startup nation. We also see the huge impact of the presence of large IT companies who have been shaping this journey across. So it can be an amazing opportunity for us to really help people. And and how do we help people? By bringing these ecosystems together in the context. So that's how it became important for us to start this particular office here in India.
So when you talk about the population and how we are one of the largest youth-led countries, how do you envision at World Economic Forum operating across states?
Okay, so see, it's pretty unique model where most of the central ministries, whether it's say agriculture or Ministry of Electronics, they are into shaping the national policies and programs. While states are actually implementing most of these programs. They're closer to the people, closer to the society. So we work across these two ecosystems from the government perspective, from public sector perspective. So for example, like we work with the Ministry of Electronics on AI policies and programs. This program that we lead is AI for India 2030. But then when this program has to be put, say AI for agriculture or AI for healthcare or AI for education, these programs need to be worked along with the state governments. So some states whom we have been working very closely, like say Telangana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and few other states, UP, we have seen, like we in our initial times as we go in, it takes some time for each of us to understand. But once the programs and frameworks are ready, it's very easy to scale. Then other states also see, okay, the impact of what we worked, say in Telangana, is pretty much important for other states like Rajasthan or Gujarat who would like to leverage the same experience.
So it's there in each and every country, right? So I would like to ask you that how does it contribute to the overall growth of country? I mean, we see at different states like we mentioned, but why is it so important for each and every country to have that, and how does it add value to the country? Because sometimes we often overlook the kind of progress these platforms and these forums make. So I'd like to emphasize more on the importance and relevance of it to adding value to the country as a whole.
A very important question here. Just like India, we have 25 centers globally, which are all C4IR centers. Although structure is slightly different in different countries. In India, we have our own World Economic Forum's office. Other places like Saudi Arabia or Malaysia, we have some affiliations with the local government. Now, why would these governments be a part of World Economic Forum? Why would they look at C4IR as a structure? Now, every country is looking at their own thematic challenges. Like, for example, if we have Saudi Arabia, they are looking at, okay, how do we really use future of energy in the current ecosystem, but also looking at SMEs and gender inclusion. Malaysia may be looking at something else, Qatar is looking at something else. So it's pretty much very diverse priorities across.
Yes.
But the fundamental challenges remain same. How do you get all the stakeholders together on one table? How do you look at policies and programs which could be shaping the future?
Yes.
How pilots could be structured? How knowledge products could be leveraged? So those issues could be brought in, and then the framework and the structure of C4IR could be leveraged. So that's how all these centers are globally benefiting. They pick up thematics and priorities, and then subsequently look at how bringing in the forum's expertise on the
Correct.
ground by putting in their own resources.
Is there any example you're really proud of the work you've done in the similar manner?
Yeah, quite a few actually, but then let's pick up, say, agriculture work that we have done. I think you possibly are also closer on the ground on agriculture and your priority as well. So when we started working in 2020, we started this initiative called AI for AI or AI for Agriculture Innovation. Fundamentally, when we built up so there are 4 big pillars that we work on. One is getting the community together.
Correct.
I mean, like all these ecosystems that I spoke about. Second is that we bring them into some series of workshops and events. Because workshops and events really bring them, and these are not like, okay, you just put 4 people on the stage.
Correct.
These are more like, okay, very environment where you can speak in a more like Chatham House rules, people can trust each other, people can speak what they want. And then we lead it into knowledge products, which could be like products which could be white papers, blogs, reports, and sometimes RFPs, sometimes even policy documents which are mostly led by state governments, etc. Now, these knowledge products are perfect documents to be taken to the ground for evidence learning.
Absolutely.
So, AI for AI saw this journey through. And then currently this work is getting implemented in multiple states, at least in one of the state, which is Telangana in Khammam district, where currently 55,000 farmers are leveraging this particular program. Over last 2.5 years, where they gone through around 3 or 4 agriculture cycles, the impact report suggested that the income or the profit itself, incremental profit, was around 64,500 rupees per acre per crop season. So if you just convert it into like the 2 crop seasons, so almost double their income. They could reduce their pesticide and use of fertilizers by almost 9%. Their unit price recovery went up. So it's a pretty unique impact and initiative, which even most of the other governments are appreciating. The UP Ministry of Electronics has showcased this particular project as a national way of implementing AI for agriculture. So it's something which we are proud of. There are other works on like cancer, which we are doing in Meghalaya, in Arunachal, we are doing on drones, which are pretty similar impact. But I would say that these are some of the shaping things which we look at, how on ground you can demonstrate impact of technologies.
I think I love the fact that you spoke about how World Economic Forum and especially its India Liaison Office makes sure that every stakeholder is comfortable with the conversations that happen. And I've seen that happening at Davos, the annual meeting in the World Economic Forum's setup. And I've seen your pivotal role in making sure these conversations are happening across. So I would like to know from you in detail that what goes at the annual meeting in Davos and what is your role in it?
No, great. I think Devyani, you've been there. You've seen and you met a lot of people there, and you've seen how impact could be created.
Yes.
So Davos, as such, is a venue which we have been leveraging for the last 55 years, where industries and governments and everybody gets together on that particular week of January. Now, how we have been leveraging this is that there's quite a significant Indian community, both from government and industry, and also lately from startup ecosystem who have been visiting there. But then it's a different environment which you possibly had experienced as well, where 1,500 global CEOs at one place gives you an environment of immense power, where power not for yourself, but power that decisions here taken could be impacting like 8 billion people on the ground.
Correct. Yeah.
Whether it is going to be like policies being discussed by government, public figures, or whether some of the industry CXOs who are coming and having partnerships to scale some of these agreements and discussions on the ground.
Correct.
or maybe startups who possibly come across leveraging like what is exactly happening in the global ecosystem.
True.
So that we have seen has really helped, and our role has been mostly to kind of help shape the Indian community to be a part of a global community, and also give a glimpse of what is happening here to the global community. So that's what our role is.
This time when I attended, I mean, it was my first time, and you can share your experiences about it. But I felt that all these global CEOs and corporates were interested in the agricultural field and also interested in how they can invest in India. So would you like to elaborate on that? Because I felt like there was so much of potential they saw in the kind of work that was happening in the agricultural field, and you are the best person to talk more about that.
Yeah, so both the interest in India, for sure. Like you, whichever meeting you will go in Davos, you will see the mention of the country. So much happening geopolitically. We are so strategic right now. On the agriculture side, food, for sure, is the biggest subject.
Correct.
Sustainability in the food is another big challenge. Both from the financial inclusion perspective or environment perspective, it's a big challenge. Now, whichever industry that we speak to, I mean, like whether we talk of any consumer industry like Nestle, Coke, or maybe Pepsi and other people who are possibly into the business of food, and or maybe other people who are like maybe more into agriculture like Yara, etc., who are into agriculture inputs. Now they all see this as a one. Sure, it's a big opportunity, but big opportunity. One is from a business perspective, but the other is from impact perspective.
Absolutely.
Because anything which, if you can't make it successful in India, then then you're playing in fringes.
Yeah.
So this is the main playground for food and agriculture.
Correct.
If you really have to make an impact.
Yeah.
So that's the interest that you saw there. And while not just in the discussion boardrooms or meetings that it happens, it has also translated into real partnership that we have been working on ground for some of these projects as well.
Correct. When I talk about C4IR, it is an amalgamation of technology with policy. And it is the need of the hour for anyone to kind of intertwine both the worlds together. So would you like to elaborate more on that?
Yeah, so see, the thing about technology, and especially when we're talking about 4IR technologies, there are some fundamental features that you should understand. Like one is it's highly unpredictable. I mean, like which technology will scale at what time? Like AI has been around for 40, 45 years.
True.
People have been doing research, but suddenly there is a ChatGPT moment and then it spikes up. Metaverse was spiked up and now it's not really so much talked about. So technology has its own unpredictable nature of when it will finally see the business. The second is that it is not just one system we can talk about. Like it's not just technology will make a technology ecosystem. It impacts environment. It impacts political ecosystem. Like see the world of AI. Every country is today having geopolitical discussions around who should partner with whom in the AI world.
True.
It is also social, like whether I will lose a job or not.
Correct.
What should I do in the shaping in the new world of AI? So it's not just like unidimensional. It can shape the economics of a country big time. Like today, if I'm expecting, like US is the reason why US is a $29 trillion economy because it's an innovation-led ecosystem.
True.
And if anyone really wants to establish a future business, that's the best country today people visualize about. So it's a multiple dimension. Technology cannot be a one-dimensional issue. Third is that it is also the challenges with regard to ethical issues which comes in, whether it's biases or whether it is like IP rights or maybe fairness and all those kind of challenges. Whether how will AI be treating me, or how will blockchain, crypto should be treated. So it's a kind of a big challenge on why should it be seen in different dimensions. And then the investment world. Like where should you be bringing in money? Now policies are for all those things, right? How do you really look at like it's a big challenge for any policy maker to see on one side they have to see the impact or the benefit for the larger common people whom they are responsible for. On the other side they have to ensure that the businesses are really inspired enough, and you can't be putting too much restrictions there that just take care of one side and you forget the other side. So it's a nice balance that they have to play, and that's where we see how do we come into the same environment. So because we offer a platform of full trust,
correct,
where we are not biased by any businesses, we are not really biased by any other political agenda. They have huge trust in us for the last 25 years. So we play a huge role, especially in some of these unpredictable situations as it is shaping up.
I feel like the most talked about discussion that happened at World Economic Forum and that has been on the list of the top threats has been misinformation, disinformation, the threats that can happen via AI, and you've been speaking about it, and of course the other list of things. You as a person who's leading the C4IR for World Economic Forum, especially in India, how can you give some opinions or advice on one leading it ethically, especially technology-wise in India? Because you have immense data and information of what can go extremely right and what can go wrong. So would love to know your perspective in detail about the responsibility everyone has to build an ethical ecosystem in India about this.
Yeah, so see, responsible use of technology is always the first priority for our Economic Forum. And when we look at whether it's policy shaping efforts that we do, or whether it's businesses whom we work with, normally it should not be an afterthought.
Correct.
It's not like, okay, fine, we did a particular application of AI for cancer, and then we look at, how do we really ensure that there are not enough any false positives. It is by design that we'll have to look at this way, that if we are using AI for early detection of cancer care, like in Meghalaya, we are using technology in the hands of Asha healthcare workers who are going door to door and then are screening patients. And then looking at predicting that, okay, fine, you may be having a high probability of one of these 5 types of cancer, or you are safe. So, but before you make that call, you have to be bringing in trust.
Correct.
And if you speak, if your AI algorithm is false, it gives, say, even if 20% cases are false positives, then one case can disrupt the whole trust environment, and nobody will let you enter the home also. So that's where the big challenge comes in. Like if you give a wrong advisory on a pesticide to a farmer, saying, okay, you should be using this one, and you are giving it to millions of farmers.
Correct.
Suddenly, like, the whole trust will go away, and nobody will trust even the positive technologies which will come in the picture. So the fairness, the trust, these are very, very important aspects for bringing in like real large impact of technologies in these scenarios. And that's what we have been very much committed towards.
Correct.
That let's, for example, like in case of Meghalaya, we had to work on this pilot which was being led by Meghalaya government along with Apollo. They had to work with church institutions to bring that bridge that yes, we should trust this technology. So that's how it works on the ground.
You spoke about agriculture and how it can positively or negatively impact the farmers, and you also spoke about the project you're really proud of. So delving a little bit into the AI and agriculture, I've seen firsthand that it can help create climate resilient farms. It can help strategize your crop patterns in a beautiful way, and it has benefited a lot of farmers potentially. And considering the kind of climate change that's been happening, the first sector that is highly affected is the agricultural sector. And if you would like to talk more about how these innovations are helping the farmers at the ground level, example, the app, how it kind of facilitates them to detect anything beforehand. So I'd love to know your perspective on how exactly this is so beneficial, and everyone must invest in leveraging this technology and the awareness that requires for this sort of innovation that's been happening in agriculture.
Now, I think, let me just give you one example, and possibly it will help us to understand the context. So cotton, which is grown in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, in Telangana, and few other states. 32% of the input cost is pesticide.
True.
And that happens because usually the pink bollworm hits, and then like this could be a huge risk on the productivity itself. The bigger problem is that the pesticide, 98% of this pesticide actually does not even address the specimen. It is either going into the soil or water, and then beside that, it also impacts human health because people use the practices of either bare hands or maybe just kind of, there are no specific ways to apply the pesticide. So that's a scenario where both the economics and the environment is hitting you in a big way. Now, if, and there's a pilot which we were doing along with Vadvani, where farmers were asked to kind of download the app, upload the images, and then image was run on AI algorithm, and it could tell you specifically which fertilizer to use, which pesticide to use, how to use, when to use, when not to use as well. And that would mean like and there's a proper impact report which came in, almost like 19% in productivity increase for these farmers who use the particular app. But then obviously it takes time to scale. Like it's they did this whole pilot around 65-70,000 farmers at the time, but then finally number of farmers who upload the images and number of farmers who actually go to the shop to buy that particular pesticide and then apply, the curve keeps reducing. But even to the farmers finally who actually did something, they saw the impact, but then scale happens. Then people will trust each other, okay fine, whatever you did, I will also do in the next cropping season. So it's very important. Same is like how we are using technology, especially remote sensing technologies for tracking water.
Yes.
Similarly, like how do we do precision agriculture today? Most of the precision, the precision irrigation is pretty much like only 6% farmers use it. They're using flood irrigation, and pretty much agriculture is export of water. Whether you look at sugarcane or whether you look at any other crop, it's like, in my understanding, I was told that 1 kg of sugar actually is 8,000 liters of water being exported, fresh water being exported globally. So should we be doing that, especially in scenarios where water is scarce? So these are the real challenges now. And then now I saw not just like genetically modified, but genes edited. So there is a edit, like now with AI and CRISPR technologies, you can edit the genetics of a crop, and they came out with with kind of a new crop of rice, and then also tomato and banana. So now we are using technology for how they can be more resilient. They can be less prone to water or other crises which is happening, especially on climate triggered.
True. And I've seen such live examples where, you see a tomato growing at the top and then there's potato at the bottom with the aeroponics technology and all that. And I was also talking with a farmer. I had interviewed him and I asked him about organic farming or precision farming or using AI as a tool. And like you rightly said, that once they have faith and trust in this technology working for them and their profitability increasing, the word of mouth which a farmer spreads across the community is nothing like it. Even social media cannot beat the kind of word of mouth they have. So I absolutely agree with you that it's just the starting point where everyone needs to put effort, like World Economic Forum is doing in India. And I feel that it is so important in this field for it to grow massively, especially looking at the food security and how the whole system is going to change after many years because of the climate change and the changing patterns in the crops.
Yeah, it's like see, today the farmer is the biggest risk taker on the ground.
True.
He doesn't have any information on pricing. He doesn't know about the climate. He doesn't know about the soil. But then he still puts up what he believes that is, maybe it's a conventional knowledge. So, and then once he goes through it, he doesn't really have all the elements of financing. Most of the 70% of the farmers are anyway dependent on unorganized finance. So it's a challenge that then they have a 40 once they produce it, they don't really have infrastructure to support. I mean, like to store or to process. So 40% of the vegetable produce is wasted. and then 15-20% of the grains are also wasted. So how
Correct.
do we really bring back that whole thing which is getting wasted could be brought back into the supply chain, either increase the farmers' income and also possibly help the pressure on the foods these days.
Absolutely. So, World Economic Forum and especially C4IR has been working with multiple stakeholders at a time. May it be government, may it be startups, may it be corporates, may it be partnerships through different educational institutes. So, how do you look at building the future workforce for India?
Yeah, so I think you have seen a lot of reports, and Future of Job is one of the reports that World Economic Forum publishes annual basis. And this particular slide is way too fast. I mean, like,
It is.
if you are not preparing for meeting up how the technologies are going to evolve, possibly will be not only we will be left with some unproductive jobs, but also there may be a situation on economic crisis. Like right now, our GDP per capita is, we are the fifth largest, but then our GDP per capita is very low compared to any of the developing nations. We are almost like 1/4 or 1/5 of global national or global average of GDP per capita. So we need to prepare for this and to be more productive and to be more equitable in terms of GDP, global or international ratio. So for that, we certainly need to be, and we are so much well, I would say, as a country, youngest country, we are technologically also serving the globe. We see the number of GCCs which are coming up. We are startup nation, so everything is in place. We just need to be we need to be aware. So the way we are trying to work is that, see, considering that most of the youth is in smaller cities, smaller towns, and they should be looking up for some of these future technologies and future shaping world. So we work with our community partnerships. Through them, we are looking at, okay, how do you really shape some of these on ground challenges? Whether it's academic institutions or whether it is going to be the government policy makers. It's so important, and especially also the gender side of things. Because unfortunately, for whatever maybe unknown reasons of family hierarchy trees, the empowerment is less on women, which would mean like they may be more impacted because of not being included in the technology wave.
Correct.
So we have some of these projects, like we work with Mavim in Maharashtra, where we have 1.8 million women farmers on the ground who are looking at how do we empower them with technologies. And the results are much more exponential compared to similarly to a larger population versus women, because they are much more responsible, they are much more action oriented and financially savvy as well. So that's something which we have been working on academic institutions, on gender inclusion, on youth specifically, because they are going to be the biggest drivers for any change that we want to bring in. And largely, I think one is that people like you should be spreading this kind of awareness that how important and how critical. Like you were in Davos and you saw the huge impact. Well, we are good. We are a huge population. We have so much opportunity, but to be getting our equitable stake at a global platform, we will have to be more IP led. I mean, like we should be creating more technologies for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And we should be less dependent on some of these core technologies for the country. So how do we build sovereignty, but then how do we build more responsible use of technology as well?
I absolutely agree with you, and I saw your report on involving more women in agriculture. And honestly, when I was just going through the data and report, it said that 65% of women are in the agricultural workforce, and most of them do own some piece of land, but however, they do not have the complete access or authority over the decisions that have to be made in agriculture or in any other field. When we talk about the corporates, or when we talk about World Economic Forum's work, especially in India, and you highly spoke about how young generation has to be a part of it. Now, looking at the ground level up growth that is required, and the emphasis of World Economic Forum this year also to kind of facilitate more workforce, especially the young generation, to come into innovation, technology, and going ground bottom up. What is your take on the role of the corporates, the World Economic Forum, to work in that manner, especially in India, because the grassroots are also play a pivotal role in kind of changing the landscape of jobs and the ecosystem. So I'd love to know about how the corporates, the World Economic Forum, and how all of this works for innovation to happen from ground bottom up.
Yeah. So we have some of these programs which are more, I won't say they are like large population scale, but they are more partner-led or people-led. So we have, like you are a member of Global Shaper, which is in India is more or less 1,500 people.
Yes.
Amazing people like you who possibly work with community and also have like shaping projects as well, like where either you are people are businesses or you are kind of social innovators. That's something which we see that it's not just like we have to be on the ground, but we have to find the right champions who can expand and empower them.
Yeah.
Then we also work with a lot of startup community. I mean, like we have a program called Global Innovators. We have tech pioneers and also some unicorns that we work in. We invite them into our community meetings where they share what the kind of work that their innovation they have been leading into, and also learn from globally what is happening.
Correct.
That's something which really merges the two worlds, like globally what is happening in the shaping technologies and India what we can do.
Correct.
So instead of like just producing mostly like replicating what has been done best, they should innovate on some new thing, because it's maybe easy to expand Airbnb as maybe some local directly consumer expansion and then riding on that wave, but then creating something new.
Correct.
Which could be more transformative, which could be more IP led. So that's something which we have been trying to see how do we bridge and create that kind of an opportunity for the larger youth. But then we are still like a we smaller organization, but we look at working with industries also who have some, like for example, like Mahindra or Reliance or many of these large industry partners who are on the ground. We kind of see how do we leverage their presence that they can expand the impact.
Yeah, because I feel that the corporates are present everywhere, and the way World Economic Forum has these amazing partnerships, it can amplify voices, and I think that's the beauty of this platform. And it's been doing that since many years, and I'm so happy that it's doing in India now, and it's doing it pretty well. I mean, it's amazing and fascinating to go through those reports, and anyone who would like to read those reports, they are available on the website, right?
Yeah. So the last one we published and released in Davos summarizes the work that we had done over the last 6 years now. And our team has been pretty much available for anything which they would like to know. But then I think one thing for sure is that your audience is kind of, I'm saying, largely the kind of people, the Gen Z is the real future.
Correct.
I mean, like sometimes whenever I meet some of our, like my age policymakers, I keep telling them that let's see, we are only here to speak, but then the real work is going to be done by this generation.
Correct.
So converting our reports or knowledge products and translating them into how people can accept or people can really adapt in their local environment is more important, and not just create. So while maybe only my understanding is 11% people speak English. This podcast may be in English, but then it'll be great to have the larger number of people see this kind of maybe a knowledge and the content be translated or be learned in their local language ecosystem.
Absolutely. And I think we'll make sure that this has regional language subtitles put up so that maximum people can reach this. We have seen tech again evolving so much. So according to you, like you said, that there are job threats, but there are opportunities also. So according to you, what is the biggest opportunity one can leverage when it comes to technology?
I would say this is a time where could not have been better actually. People say that, oh fine, we will not have jobs and stuff. And it could not have been better because while capital and existing leverage of data, etc., which many of these large tech companies have, they will possibly build the momentum.
Correct.
But the real fun is going to be in applications world.
True.
Which is like whether we absorb AI for our end use. I mean, like whether we spoke about agriculture, but then healthcare, education, SMEs, such a big ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Now, how do we bring AI to them? So we are working on. There is a report which is right now about to be getting released on SME ecosystem, on AI playbook for SMEs. Now that's the kind of I would say the world which we can really offer. But then subsequently, the other big opportunity that we see is that if we can be, while we are doing applications, AI applications, especially like AI agents, if some of your community would have heard, this is an amazing application where AI agents will be specific vertical-led applications sitting on top of these large language models.
Correct.
And they are like, for example, if you would like to decide that this particular podcast need to be edited and can be maybe made more attractive or could be translated, could be done by AI agents itself. So that's something which could be a huge opportunity shaping up ahead of us, where you don't have to be sitting in Bangalore or sitting in Bombay. You can be sitting in Sangli, or you can be kind of developing some applications and can be exporting it to the world. So that's something which is unique, which we should leverage. The other thing is India is very uniquely placed leveraging data. So we have such an amazing digital public infrastructure. Where we can not just the payment ecosystem, but then also our Aadhaar and other DPIs.
Correct.
This could be made available for AI, or maybe could be leveraged for AI through processed anonymization and being more responsible. But that's something which which places us in a unique way. So whether you are passing out from any engineering college or non-engineering college, you will all have opportunity here in this world. So it's not just like what we used to call it, like call centers shaped into services, into IT services, and now it will become GCCs. But then future is going to be very different.
You spoke about the young generation and why Gen Zs need to actively look at the changing landscape. And I've seen that half of the population of the Gen Zs are serious about it. Half of them don't have an idea of what has been, what has been changing for them, and it's going to be very tough for anyone to just kind of adapt to that. So you have seen for the last more than 25-30 years the changing landscapes and everything. I was just getting curious that the ones who are maybe not serious about the threats which are coming up or the opportunities, how can they start getting involved in the adaptability of the changing times? I mean, like for anyone who wants to get involved in making sure that they use their education in a correct way, or they want to contribute to the society the way you spoke about global shapers, that why it is so important to have something additional alongside your education so that you can be adaptable. Is there any message, or rather like an inspirational quote that you might have, you can share with the Gen Zs to stay relevant? Because I know the amount of pressure. I actively look at how mental health has been affected because of these changing times, and I really want them to know that everything is happening for their good, and it's not a pressure, but it's an opportunity where you can stay afloat in this changing time. So anything based on your 30 years of experience you can share with the Gen Zs?
I'm not a person of quotes, but then certainly one thing I can say is that there are a few fundamentals which will not change. I mean, one has to focus on really kind of while every technology in the last 3 decades would have created similar level of excitement, or maybe sometimes the negative side of excitement. But then finally it ended up well. I mean, like largely it has ended up well, because like even when you walk around, whether like I remember like first time when I saw like mobile phone was introduced, I used to think like why would somebody need a mobile phone? I mean like you just go, you are in office and then you have a phone and then you maybe 30 minutes you are at home. What can be there?
Yeah.
Ki, you will need a phone
Correct.
to be connected. But today I think it's so different. Right? You
Yes,
can't
it
live
is.
without. You can't even like for a second also you will have to kind of figure out where is your
Yeah.
phone. So life has changed, and so would it change. But then the best part of this, the way it will happen, is that technology around will become invisible. I mean, like it's going to be a part of your life, and then you will be most effective. Fundamentals will not change. I mean, like
Correct.
for you to be kind of more uh, uh, in terms of intelligence, but intelligence like on top of whatever machine
Correct.
can be
Yeah.
offering you, you'll have to create more of your, like, for example, the sensitivity to humanity.
Correct.
That cannot change. You have to be more and more machines can do only that part of the work, but then they cannot be human in that context. So
Absolutely.
that's something which will stay with us. If you go to a doctor, if it was only the prescription that you were looking for, it's damn easy, right? You can still upload into ChatGPT, it's available today. But do you go to a doctor only for a prescription? Even the soft word that he tells you कि ठीक हो जाएगा, it's so much meaning. Or maybe
Correct.
if you say that, okay, fine, I don't know, doctor, like why this happened, and he will possibly tell you with some comfort or some other thing way. So it's those that humanity is still there. That's going to be like if I meet you today and then I possibly tomorrow maybe I am replaced by a machine or you are replaced by a machine. There is a robot which possibly is asking the same question. Can it be still the same?
No.
So that's the thing. Like we are humans.
Correct.
And we will be riding on top of these machines and technologies, and it is for us to use them and control them and make ourselves do or elevate ourselves to something more productive, as like in the last 120 years, 150 years have happened. So we'll continue to do that. We'll keep evolving.
I think I can absolutely connect to what you're saying, because the conversations I've heard at the World Economic Forum have been revolving around this, that technology is here to give you more time to invest in the good things that need your intervention, right? And the one thing which you cannot lose on is the human connection, and that cannot be replaced by AI anytime. And that's the beauty of the growth and the platform and the community which World Economic Forum represents, because it feels so balanced in its nature that there is constantly something happening that is helping the communities to grow, evolve, but at the same time stay human and stay relevant and stay connected to from where we all evolved, right, as human beings. So that's something which I have learned at World Economic Forum. Often people are not aware of what exactly goes into the platform. Everyone knows the big name World Economic Forum, but these are the small tiny bits and pieces of beautiful things that unravel at this platform. Is there any memory or thing which I couldn't cover which you would like to say in this conversation that you think has been the most beautiful journey of your time at World Economic Forum?
Maybe I can relate to one example. So I met a person in Davos who had been there 35 times, at least out of 55, 35 times. And then I was asking him like, how forum has changed in the last 35 years in Davos. You have been coming around. It's like he told me a very interesting story. So in Davos, like there are say 1,500, 2,000 people who are there, and I have to meet say Devyani. Now, how do I meet Devyani? I don't know. Like, if you say go back 15, 20 years, how would I meet Devyani? Devyani is coming to Davos and I'm coming there. And what is your time schedule? I don't know. You don't know my time schedule. So, there used to be pigeon boxes, and there is a Devyani's box, and they put, say, Devyani, are you available at 3 p.m.?
Okay.
Or maybe I'm available at 7 p.m. and I'll put it in your pigeon box. You go there and you check your pigeon boxes and you say, okay, fine, that's 4 p.m. And then I go there and I say, it's fine. So that's how the meetings used to happen.
Wow.
Now it's top link, and then you can get a message
the
and
tap,
you can
and
possibly
it's
check your
good,
calendar and then you can immediately align. But people still wanted to meet then. They would travel all the thousands of kilometers, come to a ice like a minus 17, minus 20, and then spend like thousands of dollars. But today also they come.
Correct.
So the human nature of meeting people and then possibly figuring out like what is it that we can do together still continues to remain the same. The things in the background have changed.
One more thing which I can connect and relate to what you said was that me sitting right here in front of you and having this conversation has been one of those conversations which I tried to attempt, that I want to meet you, sir, that day. And it has been like a moment. And that's what I've learned at World Economic Forum. Once you are in that ecosystem, once you've kind of had that experience, anybody crossing you, may it be Bill Reddy from Pinterest, who's standing right in front of you, or if there's somebody from LinkedIn, you can have an open conversation with them. And they are so open to listening to what you want to say. I was very afraid on the first day. I was like, you guys are so big and you're handling one of the top organizations. You are doing such incredible job. And look at me, like it was my first time I'm selected, and I was intimidated by the whole environment on the first day. But then once I started talking to everyone, may it be their designation, may it be whatever role they are doing, they were open to listening. And they were open to conversing and hearing out what we as young generation want to say and what we are facing, or what additions they could make in their organization or in their respective corporates or anything they're doing in the social impact space. And that was fascinating to know that they want to look out and hear the young voices speak up at these platforms. And that's what I've heard throughout the conversation, that why this is so important for each and every young generation to connect to their roots and to speak up to these people who are at these platforms and at these places where they can amplify your voices. And I feel that there is so much of blockage that you notice, that usually young gen, why will they listen to us? Like I felt like, why would they listen to us? We don't have experience, we've come out fresh out of college, but we've seen how the times are changing, and if we just speak up, it never hurts. Like either they're going to take that advice, or they're going to give you something valuable which you can adapt in your life. And that is the beauty of this conversation I'm having, because I learned so much from you today. And I think I continue to do that with whatever conversations we'll have in the future. And I urge each and every young member who's looking at this podcast to kind of take this away from you, that why this is so important for our country to grow, because that's the future generation that is going to build India for the better. And that can happen through the amazing things what you are doing over here. So my last question to you would be that what is your vision for C4IR and the World Economic Forum in India in the coming 5 years?
Okay. So next 5 years is, I think, going to be a significant opportunity for change. As it is all set, like we have seen so much happening across the world, whether it's the challenges on war situation, both our borders and then other countries who are in this race. The challenges with regard to commercial trade disputes around tariff, etc., which is happening. Like everything is transactional today. Technology for sure, whether it's energy, whether it's AI, whether it's food, everything is going to be big transformation. And then obviously the big challenges for social. I mean, like how the geopolitics is changing, like how Western economies are struggling for maybe the age dynamics, which is impacting them. But while we have the age on our side, we have the challenges with regard to how do we really give them enough work and productive work to be leveraged. Now, in this kind of amazing chessboard, as we see, what we believe is that it's a huge opportunity to leverage what we do globally as World Economic Forum and converge these two worlds. I mean, like the world of opportunities, the world of challenges, and then also the strategic part of it with this global platform. And then we see how much magic could be created using the ecosystem bridging, the social impact, policy, and then also looking at how we can bring some examples of impact, not
Correct.
just like talking and creating reports, but also create more Khammam, more East Khasi Hills, Meghalaya, or more Arunachal Pradesh examples on the ground, which could be helping other states and other regions to really shape. And beside this, we also are working with the 25 global centers that we have and showcase what we are doing here from India to them. And there are many visits which have happened in the recent past, like the whole Saudi team, Ministry of Agriculture had come in. They visited across Bombay, Delhi. They would wanted to go to even Khammam, and so is like few other teams. Like we have seen a few other countries who are wanting to visit, and we are being invited to showcase some of this work.
Amazing.
So it's becoming like a perfect place for us to bring the world to solve our challenges, but also whatever we have learned to showcase to the world that how technologies can shape it.
Amazing. I forgot to ask about the energy field, which is energy sector, which has been changing rapidly in India. So, according to C4IR and World Economic Forum, what are your perspectives on that? Because I had opportunity to know from a lot of industrialists that it's going to be the next big thing, that you must invest in energy, and that's going to be one of the top industries in terms of the changes that are going to happen. So what do you think about that?
So for sure, energy is like currently more than 85% of our energy is imported.
Correct.
So we have this big challenge of dependency on like fuel pricing. Shifting to renewable or shifting to more sustainable sources of energy for sure will help us be more self-sovereign, but also meet our own needs of growth at this point of time. Instead of spending our foreign exchange on getting something, we can possibly invest in more infrastructure. Now, but then the challenges has been also that you can't be doing everything on your own. I mean, like the dependency of technology, whether it's solar or whether it's wind, still continues to be there on getting the technology maybe imported or maybe possibly partnered along with it. So that it comes back to that: how do you really innovate? How do you really solve our own challenges?
Correct.
And it may mean collaboration to begin with for sure, but it may also mean leveraging our scales to our advantage. So that's something which we are seeing already happening. The world of energy, we already invested, we work with almost all the innovation ecosystem, both not just on electric transportation, but also whether it's maybe converting maybe green hydrogen or nuclear clusters or other places where we can see that the future technologies are really going to be reshaping, like SMRs or what we call it, like small module reactors.
Correct.
Maybe are they the way, or maybe the recent maybe innovations which have come up on thorium could be showing some other examples for future. Whether the cost dynamics of green hydrogen will sustain, we don't know. I mean, like it's still a big question mark, because the world shifted in the background. Like they started, if America goes behind, like going back to the fuel world, or then many of these things get revisited, right? So it's a real world situation. So that's something which we'll see. But then for us, it is a question of economics. It's a question of sustainability for future sovereignty. So we certainly will need to be focused here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time, and it was super inspiring to talk to you today. And I feel that there should be an entire series on different topics that we can cover based on the sectors that you've been working on. And it was an absolute honor to have you on Unfiltered Conversations and kind of touch each and every topic and talk about the importance and relevance of that in India. So thank you for your time, and it has been an absolute honor for me. Would you like to give us a feedback on how did you feel about this experience?
Well, thank you so much, Devyani. It was wonderful to meet you again. Davos was something which we keep learning, and possibly you also saw us through. Maybe I think one thing for sure, like your audience and you yourself, your organization, how you are really building up this thought process. One, keep scaling, because this particular generation needs more and more communication. Not like having not getting restricted to mobile phone.
Correct.
Or maybe some social media is will restrict some of those experiences that you get in real life.
True.
I mean, like, we have all seen that real meetings are amazing.
Yes,
Because there are so many things which
Yes.
get opened up. So please do experience that world, the real world.
Yes.
And then second is that keep a tap on what is happening on the world of technologies, because there could be these opportunities which we may not have imagined, which will come our way.
100%. Yes.
And don't get just like too much bogged down by the whole debate that AI will be maybe not be beneficial, or like all those kind of things. But then it could be an opportunity for all of us.
100%.
And, we should certainly look at as a lifetime opportunity, where your next decade is our decade. Actually, that's the truth. Where most of the other economies are kind of finding challenges of growth, while we are still on the high trajectory politically, and maybe on the administration side, we are also decently stable right now. We are not like struggling like some of our neighbors. So it's an amazing opportunity for the youth. Maybe I think happy to be partnering with some of your organization more and more, and see how we can connect. Our team also has some amazing people here and in Geneva. Happy to connect them to you, so that you can learn, maybe your people in our audience can learn from them.
That will be amazing. And I agree with you that these offline meetings are so important, and that's what I've been constantly learning with these engaging conferences and the platform which World Economic Forum gives. And I'm going to take this advice back to home and make sure that I spread it across to all the younger generations which are there. So thank you so much. And
Thank you, Devyani.
This was an amazing conversation with Purushottam Kaushik ji, and this is the end of the episode. Do subscribe, like, and follow our page. Thank you.